nothing but the good vibes. We met each other in our teen times. Since then we got saved, engaged, had them not displayed. Our love through married life. Meet the Thorpes, that's our tagline. Like, comment on our journey and subscribe. But seeing as you've clicked on this video, kick back and relax for a good time. Meet the Thorpes, so we're catching the vibe and meet the Thorpes. Asian ties, meet the Thorpes, meet the Thorpes. Catching the vibe and meet the Thorpes, okay.
Hey, it's on me. It's on me. Listen, guys, thank you for joining us. It is a pleasure to be hosting with, shall I say with, Kojo, Little Black Book 91.
Just an assistant, bro.
Okay, and as you assist us, we assist you. This is Marriage UK, and we are honoured by a wow couple.
Wow, thanks.
A wow couple who came upon our feed, Meet the Thorpes, and you have to watch their stuff. You guys crack me up. I'm not gonna lie. You crack me up. I mean,
yeah, especially during this time in a pandemic when we need to laugh. You are very helpful in doing that for us. So we just want to attribute some of our mental health and give thanks to the Thorpes.
Thank you.
Seeing us through the past year and a half.
yeah, and Little Black Book as well. You've been cracking us up a bit as well for quite a while now. That's a compliment, by the way.
Yeah. You already know. I take it how I get it.
That's it, man. Take it. And so here we are today. We're with a couple who I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Boy, does Little Black Book need to introduce himself?
Yeah.
Man? I mean, you know,
Not really.
upcoming rising UK star.
Stop.
He sings, he acts, he dances.
He reached
Stop
already.
Okay. I
Keep
leave it
going,
there.
man. Keep going, man. Roll that stuff.
Oh, should we keep it coming?
Just keep it, man. Stay hydrated. Come on, keep going, man. Just kidding.
And one day we'll do a little dance off online as well. See how it goes.
Trust me.
But I'm the wrong man for that. I tell you that.
Definitely.
Now. I'm the.
Don't worry, man.
I'm the wrong guy. And here we are. This is Marriage UK. We help people navigate the journey of relationships and God and self through conversation, challenging conversation, deep conversation. And we will talk to people who are seasoned and unseasoned, married, divorced, single,
Blended. Other.
And there's another one in there. There's another one in there.
There's another two at least.
People who are not sure, maybe.
Yeah.
Through those conversations, and we've got Meet the Thorpes, and I would love you both to just introduce yourself, and then we're going to throw some serious questions at you.
Cool. My name's Adrian. My lovely wife Tara. We are Meet the Thorpes. We've been doing content creation for about a year
At the end
at the end of this month.
Wow.
And the reason we started it was because we entered into a pandemic. And during that first few weeks, I believe that we saw a lot of people that were going into depression or just feeling down. One day we sent back a little video, and there was like, "Oh my days," and there was like, "Oh my days, you brighten up my day." I was like, well, let's send it around and see if we can do the same to other people. And then, we just thought, cool, let's start up an Instagram and YouTube channel, and then boom, now we're here.
Yeah, I love that. So you use the pandemic for your good and for the good of others. Apart from what you've done with the pandemic, what has the pandemic done to you?
It's a good question. I think the pandemic, I was in a really comfortable position. I was working for a really good, reputable estate agent. I was earning big, good money. We had 2 cars in our household, and I was living my best life. I always say that, what do you call ourselves? The Dinkies, double income, no kids yet. So that's like us. We're the Dinkies. We ain't got no kids yet. We're living our best life with, our finances. And I think the pandemic kind of put everything into question because I had only started that job or changed my role because I was working in the same business for 2 years and then changed my role. I think, what was I in the role for 8 weeks? And I could have lost my job. But by the grace of God, they kept me on.
Yeah.
So I think being stuck in a house with someone 24/7.
It can go either 2 ways.
Yeah. It was either we were going to kill each other or love each other even more. So I think for me, it kind of made our marriage even stronger.
Yeah.
And
for me personally, it solidified. You know, people will say, "Oh, you're married to your best friend or whatever," but I genuinely, during this pandemic, it solidified who she is to me. She's not only my wife, she is my best friend, and it's strange. But I know there's loads of couples that I've spoken to and that I know of who they can't spend a whole day together, let alone the last year. You understand? So,
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't all roses. Let's not get twisted. It wasn't like daisies and roses every day. Like there's been days where I'm like, I want to strangle you. Do you get what I mean? But I think it kind of
That's real.
It strengthened us, and it helped us a lot, I suppose. Yeah. And especially working with someone, like being in a house with someone, and then working with someone when they can't get the words right for the skit, or they're not showing the right facial expressions
or
and
you
stuff.
can't be bothered.
Yeah.
You're like, they're so uppity, and you're like, no, just chill, relax.
But I think even more so, probably, I lost my manager in the pandemic.
Yeah.
So him having to be with me and having to work on Meet the Thorpes was very difficult. Yeah, so that even strengthened us even more.
Yeah, that was a trying time because we was even staying in the hospital.
I was sleeping in the hospital,
for what, a couple of weeks?
About 3 weeks. But yeah, it just showed us. It allowed us. It's like knocking away a rock and finding a diamond in there. So we've knocked away the rock a bit, and we're seeing like these little glimmers, and we've still got more knocking to do. But it's done well. Yeah.
That is beautiful. I mean, the pandemic has been the sickle, you know what I mean? That's an old word, isn't it? That's a King James word, but it's like a moon-shaped tool that has just gone through what used to kind of lash wheat and separate wheat from the tears. Do you know what I mean? It's gone through and just been like, you're still standing, you're still standing, you're still standing. That's how the pandemic has felt for many families. Do you know what I mean? It's been testing your ability to stand. So I'm glad you guys are still here.
But you know, today we're looking at endurance. So first of all, tell us how you met, summarize your journey so far, and then we're going to get to why we're talking about endurance. Tell us how you met, your summary, and we're going to hit endurance straight after that.
Cool.
Tell the truth, man.
I'm going to go first. I tend to tell the truth. I tell the truth of what happened.
You tell your truth.
Okay, so basically, I was very close with his cousin, and she brought me to church one day, and I went into a church, and this church is like one of those old Pentecostal buildings where the women wear, you know, the cloth on their head, and, you know, it was very like choir, Baptist, Atlanta type church. So I walked in and, you know, as youth do, around 14, 15, you go into another room and leave the whole church service. And there was this guy with an afro and a massive puffer jacket on in the heat. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, where's his mother? Why is he not hot? And my first interaction with Adrian wasn't great. He was very rude, very aggressive.
That's my guy.
I just didn't like him. He was like, give me your phone. He was prank calling people. And I was just like, who is this guy? Anyway, I kind of just dismissed him and went about my life. I mean, I was only 14 years old. And then I came back to church maybe, how long?
3 months.
Maybe 3 months later. And
this time I got the head tie.
That what?
The what?
The head tie.
Okay. So I came in, and no one I know this sounds so dumb, but as I walked in upstairs on the first floor, I opened the door, and there was like this what's it called, stained glass in the church, and the sun shone right on this person. And as I walked in, it was Adrian, but I had no idea. And then I was like, hold on a second, who's that guy? And he had a haircut, this cream Pierre Cardini jumper on, these trousers. And I was like, no. And the only reaction that I had was to slap him in the back of his head.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Because I didn't know what to do. I was like, who is this guy?
That's love.
But,
that's love.
Yeah, that's how we met. And we've kind of been stuck together ever since.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That is not often we get one person giving the true account of what happened. So that's amazing. That's a testament.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that was it, man. And then 14 to 31.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
It's been a journey, yeah, for sure.
So how long have you been married?
8 years in this May.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 years this May.
Why would we? Because I remember speaking to you on the phone initially. Why would we want to talk about endurance, and why did that come up? The topic of endurance, and maybe in the light of your story, I'm guessing that was an important issue because, guys, just before we go into that, I don't present the topics to the guests usually they come with them, and it's stuff that's meaningful to the guests. And so I loved when you said it. It was the first thing you said, I think. You said endurance.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, and why was it important for your story?
I think when we got married, we had been warned, we had premarital counselling, we had it all. But I think we had like these love goggles on and we couldn't see past, I just want to get married to this person. And I think when we got married, we were very shocked at what it was. I didn't like him, he didn't like me. And I remember the day after we got married, I called my mum and I was like, what have I done?
Hold on. What do you mean you don't like each other? What you mean when you was engaged?
My gosh, on the block.
No, we got engaged. We got
married.
We got married. Like it was, we were doing the things that we thought were necessary. So we were following what everybody was telling us to do, but also we weren't digging deep enough, if that makes sense. So I know.
So when you say you didn't like each other, when were you talking about?
So
listen, the week of.
Yeah, the week of, I woke up. The next day I woke up and I said, Mum, I don't know why I've done this. I should have listened to you the whole time.
This
I don't know why.
boy.
Because you know what it was? It wasn't necessarily that thing. I realised that, I'm actually married. I'm actually somebody's wife. There's responsibilities that come with this thing. Even though under preaching, we had all the premarital counselling. Our pastor and his wife are fantastic. Like, literally, they warned us. They were like, listen, you do not get married. Nobody's ever ready for marriage. But you can only prepare yourself so much. And he was like, listen, you don't jump into this because you've made a covenant with God. So the only way out is death. That's the only way out of this thing. And the next day, I woke up. It was the second day because you went back to work on the second day. I woke up and I called my mum, and bearing in mind we only lived down the road from my mum, and I called my mum crying. I was like, Mum, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done this. I wasn't ready for it. And even looking back at our wedding video, when we were meant to be saying our vows, I was giggling with my maid of honor. I wasn't even taking vows seriously. I was like, oh my gosh, my hair looks so pretty. Oh my gosh. And then it was like, what kind of madness is that? Like, what kind of madness? So I didn't prepare myself. I wasn't in my word enough to be a wife at all to this man. And
I just want to say at this point, Kojo,
you got to let him breathe.
You must have a question, or you have to take a breath.
I haven't even got a question. I'm just wow.
I'm sorry, yeah.
If this was Married at First Sight, I'll be cussing. No, I'll be cussing. I'll be having 4 or 5 videos on one person. But carry on, sis. You're doing bits. Mm-hmm.
It was it was
for me. It was a strange reality. I've known her for so long.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought I really knew her, but I've never lived with her. Never lived with any woman. So to now come into her house, I've got bad habits. She's got bad habits, and I'm like, well, I've been like this for ages, and you've been like that for ages, but I haven't noticed these things. And now there's certain things that I expect and I want, or that I envision as a married man that my wife would be doing, or that I think would happen, and it just wasn't running. I'm thinking, what is going on there? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Mind you, now at this point in my church, there's not that married couples.
It was 2 married couples. No, 3.
There was one married couple my age. The other 3 couples were older. So my pastor, the assistant, and an older person in church. Now, at that time, I was like, no, I ain't trying to go and tell people that I'm struggling. We've only been like a year. I'm not, as a man, it was proud. It was pride. I'm not going to go to his brother and be like, yo, you know what? big man. How it was. Because my thing, like, this is the kind of mad one that. So I thought, I'm just going to internalize everything.
Wow.
I didn't want to tell my friends, my best man, my groomsman, because I didn't want to put a bad light on my wife. Because I made the decision to marry her.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I need to fix something. I didn't know, or at the time I didn't think it was me. I thought it was her. So, which brought up a lot of hostility and issues and anger and resentment and so forth.
And this thing carried on for 3.5 years, and then at 3.5 years, we were like, done. Like, I'm done. I don't want this no more. About your business. I'm not doing nothing for you. I'm helping you. So as far as I was concerned, I was married to a man that couldn't protect me or cover me. So I was like, you're not going to get the respect you want. Like, it's not going to happen. And
on my half, I'm like, I'm giving more than I'm getting. And I felt that I was married to someone who was selfish and didn't want either me or the marriage. So I was like, I'm done with it. That's that way, man. This is long.
Yeah, and then we kind of came to the idea that I would go for it. I had made my plan. I made my escape plan. I was like, I'm out here. You know, we had infertility issues in the first couple of years, and let me know where I was like, oh God, this is why you didn't give me a child, because you knew we wouldn't work it out. So now I haven't got an extra baggage. I can like drop 40 pounds. My face isn't like a tree. And I can live my best life again. And then, after that, we had some tough discussions, and he gave me some ultimatums, and I gave him back some ultimatums.
So also, we were going to, so we have in our church, we go to marriage retreat every year, which is a really, really, really good thing. For us, it's like a break. You forget everything. It's like, you go there, it's a refresher. You know what I mean? But you see, that
marriage retreat, we didn't talk.
On the way up there, we didn't talk. On the way back, and this is about 2 hour drive. Didn't talk. Didn't say a word there. Didn't say a word when we got there. I didn't say. Did you say a word on the way back? On the way back,
no words, none.
The next day, I believe that's when I gave you an ultimatum.
He gave me an ultimatum, and with Adrian, I'm the fire. Adrian's the ice. So I get really riled up, and he knows how to call out a situation. And with Adrian, when he speaks, number one, he speaks with authority. Number two, he thinks before he says anything. I'm more rapid. So Adrian came to the bedroom.
Okay.
So Adrian came to the bedroom, and he was like, I've got 3 options for you. Number one, you respect me and get behind me. Number 2, you move back to your mum's until December. Number 3, we get divorced. So I was like,
sorry, what was happening in December?
So that was my timeline.
It was just like I just gave her a period. So this must have been in August.
This was in the beginning of August.
Beginning of August, maybe end of July.
So my counter was, you text me, man, I'll respect you. Number 2, you move back to your mother's house till December. Or number 3, we'll get a divorce. And I remember he called our pastor in front of me, and I know that it kind of hit you a bit, because for him to say that, he thought about that for a while, and for my response to be so quick, it kind of hit him. And I remember he called our pastor, and he was like, look, pastor, blah, 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 blah. Now we're arguing with each other with our pastor on the phone, and our pastor was like, hey, listen, that's not what I do. He said, you don't need to sort it out, like calm down, and then call me back and we can have a proper conversation. And from then, I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning with someone's hand over my face, praying over me. And I was just like, get off me. I don't know why you're touching me. Like, don't touch me. What are you praying for?
To prayer. Prayer, you know, you're praying with prayer.
Right? This is what most of them would want,
right? Tried everything.
I'm telling you. And he continually done that. Every single day I was waking up with his hands on me praying. And at first she resisted, because I'm like, why are you touching me? In my head, I'm your wife. I see what you're like in the house. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, praise and worship leader. You're up there leading people, but you don't know how to speak kindly to your wife. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? And then that's when I kind of saw a shift in Adrian's character. Like, being more like just protecting me, praying over me. And it got to the point where one day he was praying over me and I was too tired to move him away from me. So I just stayed there and just went back to sleep. And we always say it, maybe a few months later, we were sitting on the sofa laughing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I actually like you as a friend.
So why that's pivotal, because before, if she came into the living room and wanted to watch something, I would either go out or go into the bedroom or watch something.
Yeah.
If she came into the bedroom and wanted to go sleep or go watch something, I would come in here.
Oh.
So we just coexisted.
Yeah.
There was no gelling. So that day, we were sat right here watching something. We were laughing with each other. And we kind of both realized that we were enjoying each other's company at that point.
Yeah.
It was like something clicked.
Yeah.
And for her to say that I like you again.
As a friend.
Yeah. As a friend, it was like, wow, okay.
These prayers are working.
The prayers are working. What I was praying, God, I've come to the end of myself. There's nothing physically that I can do now. I can't do anything. She doesn't like roses. I'm that time when we didn't speak, I bought her
trainers, everything.
Literally everything she wanted. I had a big page that. So I do like plus size modeling for different campaigns and stuff as well. So that month, I got a really big pay. Everything she wanted, from wig to clothes, to shoes, to makeup, to this, to that, she got. Mind you, we're not talking. And it still didn't do nothing. We still went to the marriage retreat and not speaking. Still came back and weren't speaking. I still gave her the ultimatum. But in that moment when she said, oh, I like you, or I like this, whatever, something in me said, you need to continue prayer, because prayer works when you don't see it. And I continued. And I don't know how long the period was. I would say a few months. It was just like, okay, you've got a friendship, and that's something you really didn't have before. But you've also got stronger in your relationship with God, which is the reason why you even got married. And that's when I think things changed between us.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's breathe, man. Let's breathe.
I'm gonna pop some blood pressure tablets and bring it down. You know what I mean? Get some ice.
Sounds like war. Oh my God.
Sheesh, give me a minute.
You see, when I spoke to you on the phone, you never told me you was coming like this, because I didn't know you had this going on.
Yeah, man.
I would have broke it down in like 4 parts more.
I mean, I have one question. I'm gonna lie to you. I have one question. My one question is, Jesus, what gave you the stamina for this? Because I'm just gonna be honest. If this was Married at First Sight, I'd be doing part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Guys, say this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. So, what gave you guys the impetus and the stamina to say, shoot, we're gonna tug it out somehow, some way?
Good question.
For me, you want to go first?
Yeah, I suppose, like I said, when I got to the 4-year mark, I was like, I was done. But the only thing that kind of kept me into it was the fact that I'd known him since 17. If he was a new guy and I'd only known him for a year and then we got engaged and then we got married, I don't think it would have lasted. But there was connections. Like, his mum has seen me as a child, as 14, grow up to be a woman. And his mum was my mum and his aunt was my aunt. And we're so blessed to have the family that we have, because we had his mum come into the house at 11 o'clock at the night time, come in to speak to us and reason with us and be like, guys, what's going on? And I think the thing was support. We had our pastor, like, I'll always rate him and his wife, like, they were coming here regularly to be like, what's going on? And going through the Bible with us and saying that this is what the Bible says about marriage. This is what it says. You guys didn't go into this blind. You knew what you was getting. But I would just say the support. Like, my girls, I would be like, yeah, my girls know Adrian. They have a very good relationship with Adrian. So I'd be like, I'm done. I'd be like, Adrian, I'm done. I'm getting a divorce. And where most girls, other girls, I don't know, maybe would be like, leave him. You can go get a man. They were like, Tracy, you married him. This is your husband. You made a covenant before God. You can't just walk out of this because you're frustrated. That doesn't work. So I had in one ear my pastor, his wife, my mum, Adrian's mum. In the other ear, I've got my friends, and I've got this man praying over me. So for me, that's what it was. I don't know about you.
So for me, longevity, in just first knowing her for that period of time. The second thing was, which hit me the most, like a punch in the face. I spoke to the pastor that actually did our marriage retreat, and he brought me to a side and he said, "Listen, do you believe that you married your wife on accident?" And I said, "No." "Do you believe that you got one of God's most precious things?" And I said, "Yeah." I kind of paused and I was like, "Yeah, I have." And he said, "So I'll just leave you with that." I went home and I thought on it. I pondered. I said, "I've got a responsibility. This is one of God's finest designs. This is one of God's most meticulous designs. It's the most thing that I can have." You understand? So when I've had the privilege of putting a ring on it and saying, "This is my wife," and I've made an agreement to God that I will do the best that I can for her. That's what I realized. I said, "No, I've got to do this. I have no choice. I have no choice." Like, people say failure is not an option. I'm saying there is no failure. It's you keep going, you keep striving, because when I come to the end of me, there's always God. There's always God. And after that, this is why we're here. This is why we're still here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if I didn't resort to things spiritual, would have been done a long time.
Oh, long time.
Long time.
4 years ago, done, finished.
Long time.
So what you're saying is that you had a supportive network around you, like a village around you, a family and good friends with wisdom, and who had your heart in their hands, and you also had a God who you were accountable to, which made you also see your own intrinsic value and the intrinsic value of your partner, where you said, "You know what? You're made for me. We're made for each other, and you're specially made, and so we're going to stay in this." I think when I was thinking about endurance, I wasn't expecting a story like this. We have a saying with This Is Marriage is, "Love never fails, stay the course." And we also equally say that there is no fire exit. So we're going to bun up in here. And that means that, look, we're gonna have to fix it, or we're both gonna burn. You get me? And I like the fact that there are many who maybe sit on the sidelines who feel, because they see the Hollywood version of marriage. I always talk about the Hollywood version, the white sheets, the breath don't stink, you take no showers and you're still fresh. Do you know what I mean? That we see that version of marriage and we think, "Oh my days, it's amazing that," then you see celebrities get married for 6 weeks and on to the next, and on to the next. There is no examples of endurance. And you would think that if you were making a contract to death with another human being, there would have to be a level of endurance. Equally, like you see particular builds of people maybe running endurance races. I'm not endurance built, so I don't do it at all. And you're like, how do you sustain that? And they keep a steady pace. They keep their eye on the pacemaker. They're not watching anybody else. They're keeping their own pace. You know what I mean? And I love the example that you've given here, that you've said, look, you've gone through the rough. And in life, roughs will come up and down, because we weren't expecting a pandemic. We weren't expecting job losses. We weren't expecting to be stuck inside. But what you've demonstrated in this story, which we weren't expecting, we didn't get a prelude. We didn't hear the story before we came on here, is such an example of endurance on heat. I wasn't expecting this at all.
Yeah, it was mad.
I've got a question for you. Were you distracted by what you saw in other couples?
Oh, yeah, man, I was. Maybe not so much you, I was, man. I had an idea of what this thing was going to look like. I had some friends that got married before me, and then it was like, so I would say that personally, I come from a background where my mum has always gone over and beyond to ensure that I have the best education, I have the best shoes on my feet. What is the bill? When I started working, my mum was like, "Keep your money for yourself. I'll still pay your bills." Like, this happened for a long time. Like, so when I got married, I expected a certain happen in life. Like, oh, well, I have to go to work. No, I'm going to be a housewife. Housewife for what? Like, we're both young. Like, we both should be working and grinding right now. And I suppose for me, I feel like I didn't see enough couples I didn't see any couples really that were like, man, this thing's hard. Apart from our pastor, who spoke to us and was like, it is hard, but it's worth it. But I didn't have, I was like, well, this thing, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, because we were one of the first, though.
Yeah, but absolutely. No, agreed.
For me, I didn't really get distracted, but I had goals and I was getting frustrated that they weren't coming to fruition. So I had like 5-year plans where I'm saying, come on, let's both of us grind it out. Let's do this. Let's buy a yacht. Let's do that. Let's do this car. And it just wasn't happening, or it wasn't happening as fast as I wanted it to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't say other couples distracted me now. Not that kind of.
Yeah. We all spoke about the grass being greener, innit? And then I said, you don't know if it's AstroTurf over there. It's just that when you see it, when you have a peep over, it's green, but you don't know the texture. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so it is about focusing on your own garden. And I have been in that place where you've been, Tara, where it's like, oh my days, she gets a hug at, his hands ran her in the service, or, they look happy when they came in the door. And, you just slammed the car door, walked into church and just found a smiling handbag. But they were not the image that I should have been looking at. I should have been looking at watering the grass. And I remember that in a certain part, my own grass, our own grass, in a particular part of our marriage, when it was just like, but he prays for long. Do you know what I mean? Or he bought her that car or whatever. And then it was like, this ain't working for us because we have no idea of what's going on over that fence. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think kind of, because it's been so long now, but one thing I remember noticing was long. One thing I noticed was that there were couples that we thought were really doing well, and when you start to see the cracks, and there were cracks that were shocking cracks. They weren't just like, oh, they're struggling. It was like they're on the verge of failure, and one or two failed, and I'm like, no way, not them. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, all right, that means. Number one, we weren't doing too bad. Number two,
we're doing bad.
We're doing bad, and it could fail. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I remember that. But I want to ask you a question. How did you become friends, and how do you rate friendship in your marriage? You can answer that however you want.
For me, friendship, in terms of being rated, is after your attraction to the person, because you have to be attracted to who you marry. I hate when people are like, oh no, he's not really that great, or she's not really that great, but they pray for love. No, that's not what you want. You want to be with someone that you're attracted to. But friendship, if anything, takes over all of that. It takes over all of that, because if you have a friendship, and I don't mean to be crass, after what happens in the bedroom, it's not exciting anymore. So you've had it, you've got it, then now what? Now what? Who do you run joke with? Who do you spend your time with? So for me, friendship is the most important thing, because like I said, I'm fire, Adrians, the ice and the water. So even today, we went out cooking and he got charged, his card got charged for some delivery plus thing. And I'm like, I attacked straight away. And I'm like, it's not me, like a type, it's not me, it's not me. And I'm like, why do you think it's me? Why do you think it's me? And he's like, hold on a second. I didn't say that. So after I've railed on for about 10 minutes, I've gone to Deliveroo and I'm like, oh my gosh, Deliveroo Plus is connected to Adrian's card. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry. And then after that, it was just like, it's cool. And then we start running joke again. Now, if we didn't have a friendship, what would that situation have been? It's very small, but if we didn't have a friendship, what would that have been? So friendship for me, it's like 90% of the relationship for me.
Interesting.
Friendship for me is rated on sacrifice. So this goes beyond me and Tara, any of my friendship. So all of my friends, I need to feel, or I need to know wholeheartedly that you're gonna sacrifice for me, and I'm gonna do the same for you. And I get that with my wife. So, as you said, there's been things what's happened in our relationship or even my personal life where she supported me, and I've tried my hardest to do the same with her.
Sorry, just to interject, even what he's saying, I have to agree because my nan passed away in October. So 4 days before my birthday, he passed away. And when obviously I knew that me and Adrian had a good friendship and a somewhat good relationship. But when I knew this man was coming to the hospital with me and he was sleeping on one side of my nan and I was sleeping on the other side of my nan in a global pandemic where either one of us could catch COVID, I said, that's mad. That's a friendship where he will lay beside my nan who is dying. She can't talk. Her eyes are like open. She's not moving. We're just waiting for her to pass away. To know that he can stay with me, that goes beyond being a husband. That's like a ride or die best friend at that point. So I agree with what you're saying in terms of sacrifice. Yeah, absolutely.
Kojo, I don't know if you have any questions. I don't know.
Listen, bro, it's very rare I'm shook off, but today I'm shook off. So, yo, the story shook me all the way up, bro. You know what I'm saying, to my core and my pecs. You know what, I want to ask a question, as you know. So I want to ask a question because obviously this is about insurance.
Yeah.
So I don't want details. I just want your answer in terms of how you overcame a moment, because I heard the word infidelity, and let me be very frank with you. This word shakes me to my core and being. So I want to know, how did you enact a forgiveness? I don't need to know who did it. It's not important. But what's important is how you managed to move past that point, because the thing was already bad. Then we had infidelity in there too. Like, this is, for me, I'm listening to him like, at this point,
bro. I think it's
infertility.
Oh, I was gonna say. Right, I was like, listen, this thing is really deep. Okay, infertility, my bad. Okay, so I can kill that question. Okay. Let me shift my question. Because I was thinking to myself, wait, in my head, you can see me spinning the clocks. That's what my head was spinning. I was like, damn. All right, my bad. So infertility. That's also actually a really interesting topic, just because I've seen it in my family and how it's driven a marriage apart to someone else going elsewhere, basically. Wow. How did you guys manage to also work around that issue? Because that's a big one. If one party wants it, or even two parties both wanted it, it can drive people apart. So how did you guys manage to stick like glue in that moment? In those moments?
Just to let you know, before you answer, we've got an episode dedicated to this topic as well, coming up in the next few weeks. So, but please go ahead and answer.
I think for us, luckily, we were past the 4-year mark. So this is when we had dedicated ourselves back to the marriage. I talked to myself. No, actually, the beginning is where we had the infertility, right? Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking about two different bits. Yeah. So the infertility bit, I mean, to be fair, we wanted kids. I mean, when we got married, I didn't want no kids. I was like, I don't want children. I'm selfish. I just like my own time.
Trust me.
Whatever, that was me, right? Then
I'm with you.
I'm like, oh, hold on, our close friends are having kids.
Wait, we had a 10-person bridal party.
Yeah.
10 groomsmen, she had 10 bridesmaids. Every one of them had you.
Ooh.
Some of them are their third.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
And we still didn't have one at the time.
So we decided to try for it. And to be fair, I have to thank God that we didn't, because I feel like we was trying to stick a plaster on something, because we weren't good. We weren't good at all. So I genuinely, I said it to my friend the other day. I was talking to my friend Lauren, and I was just like, look, if we had a kid back then, our marriage, I don't know how it would have lasted, because now with this little person, and I don't want to be like, let's stay together for the kids. Like, I was never brought up that way. I was not brought up that way. But I think after the 4-year mark, once we kind of decided to dedicate ourselves back to the marriage, we actually got pregnant and then a miscarriage. So at that time, it was, thank God this happened after we rededicated ourselves back to this marriage. And for me personally, as a woman going through that, it was very tough, because it just seemed, Adrian was like, oh, this is a good thing. That means you can get pregnant. And in my head, I'm like, but not to be crash, I can see me losing my child. How dare you tell me it's a good thing? So yeah, I don't.
For me, you have to go back. So for me, this is how I see it now. So before we knew about any infertility, Tara was quite sick for
a long time, maybe about 9 months.
A while, and the doctor was sending us here, there, and everywhere, not knowing. So
they tried to say that one time I had ovarian cancer, possibly all this stuff.
So I said, and this is our good doctor that we go to. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I said, okay. And then sometimes they send us to a specialist.
They sent us to a specialist. I walked in. The woman was like, you work in a school, right? I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, be smart, lose weight. That's what you have to do, is lose weight. And I was just like, what in the world? So you're dealing with doctors talking to you in that way. And then when you come home, it's clashing heads. You're just clashing heads.
Yeah.
But,
so after the sickness, they said it's related to whatever it was. And they said that's the sickness that she had is the reason why it's going to be quite difficult to conceive. So okay. After that, it was like, okay, now in your head round that, then it was okay, but it's not impossible. After us, there's always God. Mm-hmm. Even before, there's always God.
Yeah.
So that was my hope. I'm like, all right, cool. Because me, I'm a person. I've got about 50 God kids. Everyone labels me their godfather. Even all of my friends, so many, because they know I love children. My background's in education. I've worked. I've run play centers, and this is just me. People know that I love children. I care for them dearly. So when it came to this, now I'm thinking, I need my own. After the turmoil at home and all this stuff. So, when she got pregnant, had the miscarriage, I'm here rejoicing. Even though I lost the child, I'm saying,
at least it can happen.
At least it can happen.
What outlook.
What way to look at it.
So when I come into the house, I'm like, I can see Tara's upset. I'm consoling and I'm trying. But when I leave, I'm like, at least, get me. This can happen. Get me. This is nice. I can plan. When I come back, I'm like, sorry, but it didn't really feel like the end of the world. And then after that, I think Tara's had her backup.
Yeah.
Because of the whole losing children and a lot of children being around us and a lot of our closest friends having so much children.
And I love those children. It's like, we are definitely the best auntie and uncle, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely best auntie and uncle. I definitely had my backup. So when people be like, oh my God, like you got married, people are like, oh my gosh, when are you going to have kids? After you have kids, it's like, okay, so then when are you going to die then? It's like, you get married. You know what I mean? And I had a lot of people like, oh my gosh, like, I can't wait for you to have a baby. And I'd be like, excuse me, like, what are you doing? And if people are like, do you want kids? I'd be like, no, I don't want kids. I don't want no kids. And
I'm hearing this, I'm thinking, what?
Yeah.
But this would be digging me. I'm thinking, what is going on? And anytime that conversation will come up, like, no, I don't want no kids. I'm thinking,
like, you might. Who wants kids? I want to live my best life.
This starts talking. I'm thinking, what is going on?
But that wasn't the truth. It was just kind of like a protection layer. But it could have definitely pushed us away, because I feel like when they said that it was basically because of me why we're having these issues, in the back of my head, I'm like, well, we might as well just get a divorce so he can go and have the kids that he wants then. Or, I feel bad because he's staying with me, but he might never get those children. Is he going to be resentful towards me? Is he going to dislike me when we get to 40 and then be like, I'm angry, I couldn't have a kid with you, and then you leave me for a younger model? So there was definitely some thoughts in my head.
I just wanted to give you some hope about the 40s.
Yeah.
We're nearly coming out of it, so you're all right. Nothing strange happens at this time.
So she
We're on our way out.
Well, you know, cogs start turning
We're
slower,
on our way out.
Damn.
But yeah, no, it was very testing, and I will always say it. And as harsh as it sounds, I'm very glad we didn't have a kid at the beginning, because we didn't like each other. But there was no business having a child and bringing our child into that at all.
You have such wisdom and such insight. Do you know what I mean? And you're able to to look back and be so reflective. I know somebody in the chat was asking, how long have you been married? And it seems like we're sitting here talking to people on their golden wedding anniversary. I know it's how many years for you guys?
8 years.
8 years.
8 years, yeah. We're 20 years this year, and we're sitting here with our mouths open, learning from you guys. Do you know what I mean? So just know that you hit the golden already. Not in years, but in experience. It's like you've gone on a fast track, but a fast track that has grown you and will grow so many others who listen to what you have to say.
Thank you.
It's not in vain, not at all.
Appreciate it.
So did you want to say something, bro?
No.
Okay. I've got 2 questions for you. We're going to try and squeeze these in the next 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I say that because this is a lot.
You need a part 2 at least.
Say again?
You need a part 2 at least.
Well, we got 4 more parts coming.
Fantastic.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a real, you know something, I think maybe because sometimes we've been married for a certain period of time, and I think that sometimes we've been married that long that people would rather hear from people who are married at just slightly less time. That's also in my head. And I think that the way that you're bringing over the story to us is like, it'll give the married hope.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it gives the single hope and those who are dating hope as well. Because, and this is it, what in the light of endurance, what has brought you here? And it's not just is it just 8 years, or are you counting it from the time you got married, or are you counting it from when you got together?
So married 8 years, but together.
Well, we got together. I count it from marriage because that's all that matters to me.
This is new. This is new.
We were together from 14, and we had some breaks. He decided to go to Jamaica. I was like, I'm breaking up with you because I know what you're gonna do. And then I was like, I'm in Bristol. I'm out here living the uni life. So I count everything from marriage. Everything is from marriage.
All right. So I guess Adrian, you're gonna have to count it from marriage now. Okay. So, what brought you here? What would you say the reason why we're here is because of this or that or who?
For me, I really don't want to sound like, people are like, I don't want to sound super spiritual. I genuinely don't want to come across like a type of way, but I have to say it. The only reason why I'm still here is because of God. If it wasn't for God, I would not be sacrificing daily to ensure that He is okay. I wouldn't be putting aside the things that I want to do to ensure that He's good. If it wasn't for God, there would be no reason for it. Like, genuinely, I said to Adrian the other day, I don't understand why people get married if they don't have a relationship with God, because I wouldn't do it. Like, I wouldn't do this. I would not do this without God. So personally, the reason why I'm still in this marriage today is because of God.
I just want to ask this question before Adrian, just before you go, and you can answer this as well, Adrian. If you say because of God, what do you mean?
So my relationship, for me to believe in God means that I believe in marriage. So I believe what's in the Word of God. I don't navigate from that. That is my A to Z. So if I want to navigate through life, I open that book and I read through it. So I wouldn't, the only reason why I can become selfless is because Jesus made himself selfless. The Bible talks about, God is married to the church. He's married to the church. So he's shown me what marriage is like. So if I've made a covenant with God to be married, bearing in mind there's 3 people in this marriage, me, Adrian, and God, then I have to emulate what I see. I can't divert from that plan. So I can't, if I know that my marriage is workable and the Bible talks about you forgive people 77 times 7 or whatever the number is, then that's what I have to display in my household. I don't want to. I'm the biggest rebel. I don't want to do this. If this is what God is telling me I should do, then this is what I do. But the only reason I can do that is because I have an intimate relationship with God. And that's not being at church for 2, making sure I'm on stage for 3, making sure that I pray 2 or 3 times a day. It's me having an intimate relationship with
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I love that.
That's what it is for me.
So for me, the reason I think why we're here myself is God is love, and before I love Tara, before I love myself,
Love God first.
I love God.
Trust
And
me.
when I say that love is sometimes it's unexplainable.
Mm.
The love that I learned through loving God is I have a love for myself, I have a love for my wife, I have a love for others, family members, friends, strangers. That love runs deep. Whatever relationship it is, it runs deep. So for my wife, the Bible says love is kind, love is patient. All of these things, when you watch this live, you can read in the Bible what love is. And I've had to adopt those things and put it on my heart for this woman here. And when I do that, I take it serious. I don't. Marriage for me was not a season or a spur of the moment decision, or it wasn't for a period. It's for a lifetime. Now, my lifestyle is a Christian. I'm a Christian first, Christian man, husband. So, in order to fulfill those things, I have to go to God first, and everything falls underneath that. And this is why we're here. There are couples that have been together for many years, longer than us. Like I've got an uncle and aunt who have, to me, seemed like a successful marriage. They've been together 50 years, and I mean they're not religious, and it can work. But I'm saying what worked for us is the relationship that we have with Jesus individually and corporately. As Tar said, our relationship is all about me, Tara, and God. When we leave God out of it,
It's a madness.
it's mad. This is where we saw us when we spoke about divorce. It's when we spoke about not liking each other, not knowing each other, not wanting to be around each other, having resentfulness, anger towards each other, can't even look at each other. How can you go on a 2-hour trip and not say a word? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. We're not enemies.
Yeah.
So without God, there would be no meat Thorpes, there would be no Adrian and Tara. It would be Adrian, then Tara. You know what I mean? So I attribute everything that we've got, everything that we are, every being of us is attributed to Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to let it sit.
And we don't ever like to portray ourselves as, oh my gosh, 8 years married, follow a rule book. Like, it's never that. Like, we've not arrived. We're nowhere near it. You guys are what, 20, 21 years?
Yeah, but still
years?
not arrived. Still not arrived.
Right. So because
Still
you are continuing to learn the person that you're with. Every day you're learning something new. So it's never a thing where it's like, oh my gosh, our marriage is perfect. Nah, this thing's hard. Like, this thing is hard.
100%.
And all we've done is, I remember my friend Tosin told me this really good analogy. And I was like, Tosin, what's marriage like? And she was like, whatever you put in is what you get out. So if you don't pay money into your bank account, you can't withdraw money. And all we learned to do is make regular deposits into our account. Yeah. And that's it. But when we're not out here, like, what we do, like, we're perfect. No, this is just what we've experienced.
And then our pastor said, those times when you are maybe arguing and you haven't invested, when you go to get it out, there's no what's the word? Overdraw. No, for them happy times, them happy places that you can dig deep, but you haven't invested in nothing. So when you haven't invested in nothing, you try to you're getting nothing to put in. So it's like, where do we start?
Just a quick question, as a side question, before we ask you a couple of reflective questions, right? Is your pastor an example? Him and his wife, are they examples of a good marriage? Yes or no?
Yes.
100%. No. To me, I think personally, I say they're examples of a great marriage.
Yeah.
Because my parents were married for at that time.
How old are you now? 32.
32, so 34 years.
Yeah.
I think they had a good marriage. That it's a good marriage, but because I'm their child, I see it a bit different. Looking at my pastor and his wife, seeing them in and out, having a friendship with them discipling us, them investing into us closely because we're on ministry. I would say they've got.
When we started church.
Oh yeah, there's
I only went to church because I thought Adrian was linking another girl. That's the reality. That's the only reason.
Bullet.
Jealousy.
Bullet.
I was like, I don't understand why you're 24/7
to intercept.
Yeah, like I'm not hearing it. And then one day he called me and he was like, just let you know, we're not sleeping together no more because I don't want to drag you to hell. What? No, I'm coming to your church. So
this is when I got saved. That's for another one.
That's
part 2, yeah? Freaking hell, man.
When the church was still very small, so we got to spend that time with our pastor, and you know, our church has grown, so some people aren't that blessed to have that opportunity. But for me personally, the only marriage that I'd seen long was my nan and my granddad, and my granddad died, I think, 16 years before my nan died. But even then, they were just fiery pepperpot Jamaicans. Do you know what I mean? Like, she cussed him, he cussed her, and stuff like that. So that was the only really successful marriage that I'd seen. So now that I'd seen my pastor and his wife, and there's God in it, oh, this is what it's like. Okay. So for me, they were such an amazing example of what marriage is. And yeah.
Why did you ask that question?
Because I'm trying to make sure that, and we can't do it in an hour, but I want to look at the points of things that support success.
Yeah.
Because I can't honestly say that we saw any examples of great marriages, and this is why I think I said it on a couple shows back.
You have to, yeah.
That you need a pastor who, if he's going to counsel, he's going to be, and I'm talking about a pastor that's older than us, yeah. So obviously years ago when we were looking up, we didn't have many pastors who were examples. Not that they were, we just didn't see it. They weren't around. We were around a lot of pastors, but you just didn't see that
authenticity
and connection.
Yeah.
So it's like how we made it. I mean, we just worked it out. You know what I'm saying? But it's good to have that, because you've mentioned it a few times before. And if you ever get counselling, guys, in my opinion, get counselling from someone whose life emulates the thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to just saying, I'm going to my pastor. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Oh my day, Cody, I don't know if you have any questions before we hit this reflection.
No,
you're good.
Listen, I'm good. I need a part 2 so I can.
Still recovering, man.
Still recovering because there's a lot still. It's heavy.
There are a lot of reflections I've seen in the chat where people are like, "Oh, this is hard." Kind of seems like there's a theme of being put off. But this is not to put you off at all. This is just to give you the reality and to say you can go through, and it's worth going through. So that's why we are on the topic of endurance. That with endurance comes some difficulty, and with life does, with anything, with exercising. I don't know, with mining, as you said, looking for that diamond. We're realizing as time goes on that the things that matter cost. You will have to work for it, and this is the top one. You will have to work for decent human relationships. Do you know what I mean? And for the best human relationship, you're going to have to work even harder. So don't let this put you off. Just let it just give you a reality of it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's true what you said. I feel like you have to work hard at anything. So we're not trying to put nobody off marriage. Marriage is such a beautiful thing, man. Like,
amen.
Honestly, it is the most beautiful thing that if two people, obviously there's been times we haven't been on the same road, but marriage, I can't even put it into words. Like, this man makes me so happy. Like, even when you irritate me, which is sometimes often, yeah. I can't explain it. The only way that I can explain it is I was speaking to my sister or my cousin, I can't remember, and I was saying I kind of felt in my relationship with God, I was kind of stagnant, and I was like, I want to feel that joy again. You know, like the joy of having God. Like it's like a euphoric feeling. Like that's how I want to feel again. And in this marriage, that's how I feel. So I really hope that people will be encouraged, whether they're married or not married. We're not trying to put you off, but the same way that if you wanted a really, really, really good job and you wanted to work yourself and there was progression, there's going to be times where you have to stay in the office later than people. There's times where you're going to have to come in earlier. There's times that you're going to have to not have a lunch break today because you want to make sure you secure that deal. So with everything, it's all about endurance. So it's just what's important to you. And when you find that person and, you know, I'm assuming that you know whether it's worth it or not, or because there's sometimes you get into a relationship and you're just like, no, I can't improve this person. Like it's definitely not happening. But yeah, we're not here to put anyone off. We just want to encourage everyone that, you know, you just put the work in with anything, with losing weight. I'm trying to lose weight out here, man. And this thing's hard. I cry, I love pasta. I don't like to jog or none of that stuff. So it's endurance. When we go for our little 10K walks and I'm like huffing and puffing at the top of the hill, the only thing
that's a 10K walk, you know.
Wow.
That's a walk.
When I get to the top of that hill, the only thing that keeps me going is knowing, oh my gosh, I don't want any more health concerns. So I keep going and I keep enduring on that walk to ensure that I'm gonna give myself the best life expectancy I can. So if it's to you, you endure it and you'll push through it.
I love that. I love the way you concluded that. And I'm going to bring you right into our reflection. The reflective questions we have are not long. They're short statements. We want you to finish it each. So the first one is, I am. I'll do you first, Tara. I am.
I am.
Do you want a sentence or one word?
However you want to reflect on that statement of I am.
I am proud to still be here because there were many times that I could have got knocked out, and that's not just talking about marriage, that's just talking about life. Like losing my nan, I could have been like that was like my best friend. My nan was my everything. Yeah. So I am proud that I am still here, and I am proud that God has kept me because it's just been a madness. It's been a madness, and yeah, I'm proud that I'm still here and that God has kept me.
For me, I am grateful. In a nutshell, I'm just grateful, very grateful. Grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the friendships, the relationships that I have. I'm grateful for my church. I'm grateful for the opportunities that have come my way. I'm grateful for my marriage. I'm grateful for my home. I'm just grateful.
The next one is I will.
I will persevere. I will persevere because life is not easy, man. Life is not easy, and the way that I've been brought up is my family. I come from a family of fighters, and sometimes you just don't want to fight. Sometimes I just want to be like an eagle and just have my arms out and just be bobbing on the wind. But I will persevere. Yeah.
I will try. Yeah.
The last one is I need.
I need hope.
You need hope. You don't have to answer it.
Yeah,
we're going to see you 4 more times after this, so you can hold it.
That's all right. We'll come back to you on. We'll come back to you on I need on another episode, man.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you. I really want to say thank you for putting it out there.
Yeah, true.
You didn't just talk to us. You talked to us on a level, and it's not easy to do, and it's not for every couple to do either. We can't do it because of our profession, sadly. Well, I will be telling you some things about Juanita. For real.
Thank God for the profession.
Thank God. You know?
Defense.
You know what I'm saying?
Defense.
But I'm looking for couples who are happy to put it out there. And we have got some lined up, and you guys are with us for at least the next month.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. And we'll see you next week. I mean, like I said, I didn't even put my pills yet. Interesting. Oh no, you didn't mean to put it up.
No, let me sorry.
I didn't even put my pills yet. My blood pressure got to come down because I'm actually really excited by what you guys have given us. And And I think there's a lot for you to give. There's a door that's possibly opened into. I'm trying to present a business plan to you now. A door that's open for you to just help others, man. So, man, we'll be talking. Kojo, I'll hand it over to you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Listen, you know, I'm still recovering. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a heavy. Whew, man. I wasn't put off. It just made me realize, like, not everyone's start is the same. And I think from listening to you guys, I think some very key themes were coming out. Number one was obviously God. But I think I like to talk about the practicalities of God, which is number one, you had the most amazing support that you could ever have. And I think most people don't have this. Yeah. You had support on every corner. And I think that's where a lot of us do not have. Either we're not talking to our parents or our friends really are not backing us like that. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Or do you know what I mean? But the fact that you guys spoke about that support, like, for me, that's a huge theme, because it's like, as much as God helped, I think he works in practicality. I think if that weren't there, that would have been a Mazzoline. So I appreciate you guys for sharing your story, because I believe it's encouraged people, to fight some more. Especially when he was laying their hands on. I said, damn. I said, brother, you could have easily got slapped that morning, bro. You could have easily got slapped. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? So, no, I appreciate you guys for sharing your story. I hope to hear more. You know what I mean? So, part 2, part 3, part 4. Hopefully, you guys write a book, because I'll be there for it as well. And a film, Meet the Thorpes. I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm ready for all of that stuff. So, by the grace of God, this story will inspire other marriages and singletons going into marriage, man, because it's real. So, I appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
as well, allowing us to come on your platform. We could have been some crazy people, but thank you for reaching out. And it's been lovely speaking to you and getting to know you and
having the opportunity to just share this, because there is no other platform that does this that we know of anyway. Yeah. So the fact that you have one and you invited us to share whatever it is, the gems or whatever we've shared with you, to us this is like us.
Yeah.
But
we're here also to learn as well.
100%.
So like, you guys have been doing this thing for that. So I'm just like, and I'm grateful to both you guys, Kojo as well, and to you guys. Like, it's a blessing. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to show you some of the brainwashing techniques I've used on Juanita, because she used to be hard work, and it's legal as well. So I'll show you some of that.
The ones that make the jokes are usually the worst guys, just to let you know.
I'm not joking. For real. You say something. Don't take a medication right now.
She was like, I laid hands for real on Curtis, don't worry. Proper hands.
But I would say, guys, listen, go to YouTube, I think TikTok. Guys, tell us where your platform is before we go. That's the only thing we need to do right now.
So it's a Meet the
I don't know them.
On Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, across all of them. We're just like a banter couple. We like to have fun.
We like to turn real life situations into laughter.
Yeah, so Meet the Thorpes across all social networks.
Yeah.
We don't really use Twitter, but we're on there too. But yeah, across all networks. Great.
Lovely. It's all of them. I don't know all of them, so I was going to mess that one up, because I just know Facebook, Instagram.
You're not that old. He does. It's late.
I don't know them. But yeah, thank you guys, and I think that's it till next week, 7:30 on Thursday. We may be with Little Black Book, but are we on Thursday, bro?
What, 7:30? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm right. Yeah, I had to think through to my schedule, innit? Yeah. I'm free Sunday.
We have David McQueen.
Lovely.
David McQueen talking to us about what it takes. He's been married 25 years.
Wow.
Good friend of ours who puts it out there. He'll tell you what he does for a living, and he'll tell you he's so articulate, and it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be good. So
7:30 on Thursday. What It Takes by David McQueen. Look him up on Instagram at David McQueen.
Yeah, somebody did ask the question. They said they were just curious, do we host discussions like this with single men and women? Of course we do.
Yes.
So check us out on what are our platforms. This is Marriage UK, YouTube when it's late.
Instagram.
And Instagram, This Is Marriage UK. So we will answer your questions there.
And listen, do Little Black Book, myself, and Meet the Thorpes, the honor. Please, it would be an honor if you would just like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
Please. Amen. Amen. Kojo, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week or on Thursday. God bless.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.